up, you guys? So we are back. I am here with two of my favorite bloggers. We have the Grace Report and Mims Make It Make Sense. And we're here for another live review of The Real Housewives of Atlanta season 15. I believe this was episode 6. Rap Sheets and Old Beefs was the name of the episode. And so we're here to get into it. How are you guys doing? How are you doing, Grace?
I'm doing great, thank you. Honestly, I'm feeling good. I'm finally back on the RHOA wagon for now after last night's episode.
Yeah. Wow. See, Grace is a little spicy. She liked it. Yeah. How are you doing, Mims?
I'm great. As long as my voice can stay voicing. I had family fun night last night, and these children are out of control.
Oh, my God. Well, hopefully you can, stay with us this entire review. What are your first thoughts? We'll start off, and you guys in the comments, tell me your first thoughts of last night's episode. What would you rate it, and what were your thoughts about last night's episode overall? We'll start with you, Grace.
Well, I really enjoyed it. I felt like things were moving. I was so happy when I saw, for example, Kenya working on like her spa and her salon and whatnot. I was like, oh my God, like I had no idea that like her hair care business was so successful and she wanted to like blow it up a little bit higher than that. Seeing Candy with her cute curls and stuff, that made me happy. Her and Todd seemed to be doing better. Like I just felt like we had like more like happiness going on. I know Marlo was still there lurking in the background, waiting to drag things back down. But I was happy to see the other things going on, and then like Sonya's family, I'm always fascinated by that dynamic as well.
Yeah, it's a crazy dynamic there. We're going to get into that because it's a lot going on. But what about you, Mims? So hold on, what would you rate the episode?
Honestly, I'll give it an 8. I'll give it an 8. Yeah. What would you guys rate at the chat too before these two get to rating while they get ready to describe it? I want to know.
I love when Grace is a little bit ratchet. She's so poised and pulled up, but then there's a pow in the episode, and Grace is back in.
That's all I
need. So, what would you rate it, Mims? What were your thoughts?
I'm gonna give it an 8, and only because I don't like them trying to make Marlo a central character. Like she is the queen of the talls.
So it's Sonya, as far as the talls, it's Sonya, Marlo, Courtney,
Sheree.
Is Sheree tall?
Oh no, you're right. She's not tall.
She's not tall, but she's on that side. Yeah. Yeah. I would give the episode. Go ahead.
No, I'm listening.
Okay. I would give it maybe like a 5, only because as a blogger, I was telling them a 5, because I don't like making, like, I don't like every week I feel like I'm making the same thumbnail for these videos. Like it's always Marlo versus Candy for like the last 3-4 weeks. And it's irritating to me. And I'm kind of over the Marlo versus Candy thing. I think it's so like ratchet. Like I said, I feel like Marlo is taking the show down. She's declassing the show. That's still my opinion. So I didn't love the episode, and I would like to move on. To something interesting.
I can understand that. So if you had to give it you said you'd give it a 5. That's it? That's what you said?
Yeah. Okay. Like do better. Yeah. Bravo, do better. Yeah. So I see some 7s in the chat. Here's a 5. Oya said the producers are working hard to rehab Marlo's reputation, and they're creating a narrative that's not entertaining. Yeah, I don't find it entertaining either. But shout out to y'all watching. I see people watching. I share on YouTube and Facebook. Shout out to both my audience. I see people watching on Facebook. Thank you.
By that portfolio.
Yes. So people are feeling it. I see some 9s, 8. Ooh, Stephanie gave it a 3. Henrietta says she's not feeling it. So I guess it's kind of a mixed bag. Some people are like not feeling it, and some people enjoyed it. Yeah. So let's get into it. Let's get into last night's episode. It actually started off with
Layla, would you mind if, Layla, really quickly, before we get into the episode, can we talk Sheree's new face?
Oh, Sharizel E.
Sure.
Can we talk about Sheree's new face?
Talk about it.
First off, Sheree's beautiful.
Very.
Sheree looks better now than she did when she came on the show and she was faking like she had money in that cottage mansion that the gate didn't work, like Nene said. But it's easy to tell what it is. You know, Sheree's been very open about getting a couple of procedures done on her face before last season. I think that she got what Portia got, a non-invasive nose job where they use filler to kind of just fill in the place or reshape the nose. And I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I was with everybody else. I really thought it was giving a little bit hazily, and not in a bad way. It looks better now than she did when she started the show too.
No, Hazel, in my opinion, she used to look good, like her natural face. Oh,
He dropped his mic and
I
left.
guess when you say stuff like that, you get kicked off. But yeah, I feel like Hazel, her natural face looked better. I just feel like with Sheree, I wouldn't call it non-invasive. This is my opinion, but because when she did non-invasive, like she did fillers, and she was actually on social media, like on the person's website, the doctor's website, and she showed when she got fillers. It's this thing like a lot of celebrities are doing. She did it like a year or two ago, and it actually looked good. It was like a balance thing, like symmetry, like a little bit here, a little bit there. But I feel like whatever she got now is not a little bit. But yeah, so I saw Andy asked her about that on Watch What Happens Live, and it actually looked invasive the way he asked her about that. So do you feel like if a celebrity has like plastic surgery, do they have to talk about it?
You know what I feel like? I will tell you, as someone who has gotten a nose job, I feel like I don't love the way, for example, I live in France, and here celebrities and influencers are super open, too open. Like they will film everything and they're getting everything done. I don't like that. I think it normalizes it too much and takes away the risk factor. So I do prefer when they're not like, you know, being too casual about it. But I also don't love when people lie about it. But it's tough. I don't know. I don't know where I fall on it, to be honest with you guys.
Yeah.
I think they're talking about it because they couldn't afford it. So once you get on the doctor's website, now it's free work. Nene did it with her BBL. I think Sheree did it with that doctor a couple years ago. A lot of people do it, and the influencers, as Grace said, they kind of push it. And you know, now that we're seeing what happens and we're finding out that the BBL is the most dangerous surgery that anybody can get, you know, I think that people should, you know, err on the side of caution when getting the work done. But I don't think Sheree looked bad. I think she looks great, just different. I liked her nose as is.
Yeah. I always thought she was attractive when she came on the show. Like this whole time, she's always been an attractive woman. But I understand she has a larger nose, so maybe it was something that was bothering her. But yeah, she always looked cute to me. So
I think it looks more bulbous now, which is kind of ironic. If that's what she was trying to get away from, I think it looks more bulbous than before.
Maybe it's still swollen. We'll see. We'll see. But I don't think she needed to do anything to her face.
Hopefully she didn't do it for Martell.
No, I don't even think she's with Martell. Like they be lying. They be lying. But yeah, so they start off the episode with unseen footage. The next day, first Marlo had told Kandi about her nephew passing away, and really those text messages seem a little bit dismissive on Marlo's part, in my opinion. Like it doesn't seem like Marlo was shaken up. So they showed this unseen footage of Marlo coming to Kandi's house the next day, I think for a party for one of the kids, and then Marlo was telling Kandi. To me, it sounded like Marlo was telling Kandi in a way like Kandi didn't know the guy. Did y'all get that? Like she wasn't telling her, oh, like, you know, this was your employee. She was telling her like, oh, this is my nephew. Like she was introducing her, you know, introducing the guy.
Because Marlo barely knew the guy. She had to ask Kandi to check if he worked, you know, and she's like, okay, I'll wait for you to check. You're not that close with your nephew if you don't know.
Right. In my opinion. Make it make sense.
I think that for Kandi, as we've seen on the show, she doesn't talk about things that she doesn't want to talk about, but also she's not the person who is going to jump into the conversation and really tell your business. So she allowed, in my eyes, she was allowing Marlo to speak on what Marlo wanted to speak on. So in these scenes, they kind of broke the fourth wall. But typically in these scenes, they're set up to talk about certain things, and they have to pretend like they didn't just talk to a producer who told them that this is going to be the topic of conversation.
Right.
Again, you're saying that it was so important to your nephew to work for Kandi. If it were me, because I'm very close to my family, if it were me and my family worked for one of my friends, I would have called day one. You know, that's my nephew, so you better treat him right. For her not to talk to Kandi about her nephew working at the company and it was so important to him, it doesn't give authentic. That's just my opinion. And I almost feel like maybe you didn't even know he worked for Kandi, because that was a quick call to put in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But I could be off. Let me know, Grace. I could.
No, I am 1,000% with you. I think that Marlo just wants to drag Kandi down, and she is unfortunately using her deceased nephew to do it. It's just so fake. It's such a reach, and it's a disgrace to his legacy and to her sister as well.
Right. It's really low. It's low down and dirty. It's a shame. Like, she's talking about Kandi, but really Marlo's the issue, because Marlo is the one making a storyline over a deceased nephew. To me, that's low. But we saw throughout the episode how they kind of flash back to, different years, like with Marlo and Kandi kind of going back and forth over the years. And you see in the past, they had a rough start. Kandi is a real, like, they already knew each other before the show, because I think Marlo dated Candy's cousin or whatever. But they had a rough start, and then you see they kind of make up and they're saying nice things about each other. But then you see things kind of switch. Once Marlo gets a peach, all of a sudden Kandi is not, the great, friend that's sending cash apps and helping out her nephews. Now she's a whore that doesn't even charge. Like, you see things kind of switch. And do y'all think, I feel like I know the answer, but do y'all think that switch had to do with Marlo getting a peach?
I think the initial switch, because again, anytime that you go on a show or whatever, or a job, and you know somebody already, you're going to be like, we see each other, I'm going to hook you up. I think the switch initially happened with Marlo becoming friends with Nene, and Nene and Kandi never got along. And now we're seeing another switch, because now Marlo has carte blanche to do whatever she wants. She's a peach holder, and she's going to shape her part of the show how she wants to.
Yeah, but I don't like it. It's not entertaining to me. Y'all, let's do a survey in the chat. Put a 1 if you're entertained by Marlo's storyline. Put a 1 if you're not entertained. Put a 2. Like, are you entertained by Marlo's storyline? Because I feel like the producers need to step in, because it's not necessarily entertaining. Like, it's like I said, I think it's going too low. But let me see what you guys are saying in the comments. Marlo disposes of friends after she gets the come up. Marlo is not playing the Real Housewives game very well. Kandi is not the one to mess with. Marlo's beyond lame. Would all of this happen if Kandi signed up for Cameo using Gutter Site Marlo's link?
I forgot about that.
Yeah, how the conversation went to her nephew who passed away to Cameo was crazy. That's why I say it didn't look like Marlo was really upset.
She's not.
So Marlo, yeah, she's not. Marlo meets up with her best friends, and they kind of like egg her
Hype
on.
her up.
Yeah, they justify. What do you think about them justifying Marlo bringing up old stuff from 2 years ago and saying, well, it's because you got a life coach now. Now that old baggage is coming up and you can finally confront her. That type of conversation. Shouldn't a real friend tell you when you're out of pocket?
Absolutely. But I don't think that Marlo would have friends like that around her. And so that's why she's got the people that you see there, the people that lead her to continue making destructive decisions that are just not at all good for her.
I watched this show this morning. I can't remember exactly how she introduced them, but those aren't her friends. Those are her employees.
Oh, is that why she had my left hand and my right hand, my mom and my dad? Yeah.
Those are her employees. They do her like PR, like personal assistant and management. That's not
I took it like she hired her friends. That's how it sounds to me, like she hired her friends.
They are. I don't know how well she pays, but they definitely are her employees. They're her candy coated clique.
Yeah, that's her clique. Thank you for the super chat. I forget what you call it, but thank you for the $4.99. I am Diva Nicole said her nephew's incident happened before Cynthia's party when she was more concerned with Portia and Bolo over her nephew. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my
You
God.
can tell it's not genuine. Whatever is going on with Marlo, it's not genuine. Thank you for the super chat. I am Diva Nicole.
Mm-hmm. And that's what makes it so creepy and sad, that it's like your nephew died and you're not genuine, you know, about the stuff that you were saying. You're just trying to use him to make someone else look bad. And then like later for her to yell that Candy has bad character when she's doing this sort of stuff was just so mind blowing.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So then we move on to Sanya. That's y'all's favorite housewife, right? Sanya Richie Ross, favorite housewife?
Is that your friend? That's your friend.
So Sanya is filming with her family. It's always something weird going on. Whenever her sister is in the room, it's always like weird vibes. Like her sister is like her number one hater, in my opinion. But yeah, so her sister went to the store, but she only bought like one beef patty for each person, so it didn't work out correctly, and which seemed passive aggressive to me. But they're talking about them moving out. And Sanya is saying that Ross wants them to move out, but she wants it to make a longer timeline. And she's kind of putting it on Ross. And her sister is kind of saying, well, it's going to be a gaping hole in this house when me and my husband leave, basically because we babysit for y'all. What did y'all think about that interaction between Sanya and her sister?
I felt sad because I do believe her sister that like Sanya's husband is taking for granted how much she and her husband do for their family and whatnot. And he doesn't realize like how hard it's going to be to get help and whatnot, like when they're out of the picture, because it sounds like he's already traveling a lot. Sanya's building up some stuff. So it must feel really sad. And then to have Sanya kind of like trolling or taunting you like, oh, well, we can like work out the timeline or this or that. Like, sorry, but no, my family's life is not going to hang in the balance of your husband's whims. You said to go, we're leaving. So I was proud of her for that.
Yeah. I was thinking that too about Ross. Is he even home? When her sister mentioned that, I was like, even Sanya said that he's not even home to know the dynamic of what's going on. But I feel like, no offense, ma'ams, no offense, but I feel like that's how men are sometimes. Like they feel like they run the household, even if they're not even there. So I feel like Ross wants to make decisions for the household, but I feel like he don't even be there. Like Sanya said, they supposed to be trying to get pregnant, but he ain't even there.
It's 4 cycles. So 4 months, it seems like, of, not being there enough. But maybe that's why he's not home, right? Because he doesn't want to be around these people.
Oh, that's no. Okay. I mean, maybe. That's graceful of you. That's graceful of you to give him that, but it's probably not that. But
I'm tired of them. I'm sorry. I'm tired of the whole bunch. We already had the beef. Now, don't get me wrong. I love a beef patty. But we already had the beef patty argument her first season. So now we're replaying that. And yes, you're not charging for daycare, but is Sanya charging for rent?
I don't think so.
If she's not charging for rent, then you could be the built-in babysitter. You're the aunt, probably the godmother and the godfather, and you're living in my house.
Yeah.
I think there's a way to do it though. And I think it's important for anybody in a relationship. Don't tell your family everything that you and your spouse, your husband, your partner are talking about and pillow talk, because it's going to, like, your family is going to love you. If they hear everything that goes on in your relationship, good, bad, and ugly, they're going to start to resent your spouse. And that is exactly what Sanya did by saying that. Technically, they should get out. There's no reason that the mom, the dad, the sister, and her husband should not have separate spaces and they come together maybe to meet in Sanya's house to work. But both of you guys said it along with myself last week. We're not having the whole family live with us indefinitely. Like, what is that?
Yeah. Trent, thank you for the super chat. Trent said, yeah, you got the picture back, Trent. I see you. I like that. Trent said Marlo is allowed to emote. Candy is given Joyce's origin story. That's interesting because Mama Joyce, like it came from somewhere. It came from somewhere.
Mhm.
So
Mama Joyce said she used to wrap her hair up. She could tie her hair in a good bun and go to town. So her and her sisters were the OLG gang before they were old. So they were just the lady gang. I guess that.
right, it's a reason Todd said that. Old lady gang. It's a reason. So then, and I feel like somebody specifically asked about Kenya's hair salon last week. Like somebody made a comment and was like, whatever happened to Kenya's hair salon? And so this week we saw what happened. Like at this point in time, like she's building it and it looks amazing. What did y'all think when they did like the walkthrough and then later they did like a computerized walkthrough of what it's going to look like? What did y'all think of Kenya's hair salon?
It looked stunning and I'm so excited for it to be done. I know she was talking to someone about like how long it's going to take. Sorry, the price for the build out, it was like 300 to 400,000 or something like that. But I wanted to know about her timeline as well to see if it was something that would be done next season so we can get like the opening party. I'm really excited for her, like truly.
Yeah, I am too. What about you, man?
Nice. It looked nice. I love Kenya. I'm happy for her, but I don't know the lady that she's trying to make a cast member. I don't know if it feels like they just gave Kenya a friend, but I don't really know anything about her. I know she was on the trip with Candy more recently. Do you guys see her becoming a full-time housewife? She's pretty. I know she's married to a football player, but she's going to have to give us a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. I don't mind just seeing Kenya having somebody to talk to. Like she said, she's her Zen friend. I don't mind that. I don't feel like she has to join the group of girls because then maybe she won't be the Zen friend anymore. You know what I mean? So I don't mind. Like she can stay where she's at, in my opinion. She doesn't have to be a housewife or be a friend to the show, but just, be a friend to Kenya. I don't mind that.
I think Kenya's trying to get her on the show.
Oh. Well, maybe.
She's been trying. Yeah, she's been trying. She looks pretty. I just want to see a little bit more. But I guess everybody needs a Zen friend.
Yeah, I think so. Especially with Kenya's going through. She's still going through her divorce. Like, it's a lot. It's a lot. But you know what?
Go ahead. How funny was it when they were talking about dating and then Kenya's talking about, I've been a married woman for 5 years. I don't know how to date. Girl. You were married for like a couple of months, okay? Like really married. And even then you were never living together. You never met the man's parents. Like, calm it down. I've been a wife for 5 years. Okay.
That's crazy to have never lived with your husband. I forgot that they never actually lived together. That's so crazy to me. That's so crazy. But I feel like Kenya's background, like her history as a child, is what kind of led her to be in this type of situation with her husband. Like people repeat patterns and try to make a different outcome. And I feel like Kenya did that. But hopefully, she can move on. They haven't shown this. They keep calling him KMC. They haven't shown him yet, so I want to see him. But she was talking to her Zen friend about him and saying he's always out of town. But I'm looking forward to seeing him.
She's smart not to have this man on the show. That's what I have to say. If she really likes him, keep him away from the show. I think they make a great looking couple, and he does seem to make her happy. But I agree, he's going to need to be around if he wants to secure the spot with. I mean, Kenya is a Miss USA. She's beautiful. She has her own money. There's no reason that another entrepreneurial person should not be with Kenya Moore. Just keep him away from the show because they will dog him out the first chance they get.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But then
Sorry, I don't like the long distance thing again. Like she just went through this long distance marriage. Why are you looking for another long distance relationship?
Yeah, I don't like it either. In the next scene, they show Sheree with her son Cairo, who has had a baby. He's had a baby. They do a flashback to when he was almost a baby. I think he was like 15 when the show started, or around that age. And
when he was on that air mattress.
She said that was for her dog. It was not his. The doggy had an air mattress. But what did y'all think? What did y'all think about Cairo having a baby and seeing him interact with his baby?
Baby's adorable.
Mm-hmm. Super cute.
I
You
did
know,
notice the baby had on a Cartier bracelet.
Was that Cartier?
Hmm.
oh, the gold was
No.
off. It was like yellow, like cheddar yellow. Not no Cartier.
Grace is calling it out.
Yeah, no. You know what? When I was watching him being praised for taking care of his own child, I was like, oh my God, like, why do we always have to praise men for doing what they're supposed to do with their children? You know, like, I didn't love that. I'm like, it's great that he's doing it, but I don't want to praise, like, women don't get praised for taking care of their own children. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I had complicated feelings about that, but it is nice that he seems to be adjusting well and happy with his baby.
Yeah, that scene actually made me emotional when they were
Oh,
talking
yeah.
about. Sheree was talking about how she's proud to see her son be an active father because when she was raising her kids when they were babies, it was just her. Even though she was married, like a lot of married women, live single. They're like single mothers, and it just kind of made me emotional. Like you're right, he was getting praised for doing what a mom, most moms always do. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's weird, it's awkward. I don't like it, but I feel like he was getting that praise because a lot of men don't participate at that stage of a baby's life, like the newborn stage. Um, I remember being in this mommy group, and we were talking about how come in the middle of the night, why does it seem like I'm the only one that hears the baby crying? You know what I mean? Our moms the only ones with ears that hear the baby crying? Why do so many fathers seem to not hear the baby crying? And we kind of agreed that it's all like selective. Like they purposely don't hear the baby. Like, moms do a lot. That's what it comes down to.
Mm-hmm.
Moms do a lot. Um,
I
Jay,
mean, I like the scene.
yeah.
But I will say, seeing, what's her name? Callie
Hmm.
and Cairo, I'm just really glad that they took after Sheree because both the kids came
Mm.
out looking great.
Yeah, it is true. They are very, very beautiful kids. Like, I didn't get the hype with Cairo before, but I saw it last night. I did. You know, he's got some great bone structure, and he just seems like such a soft-spoken, kind of chill guy. You know, so that was nice. I think at the end of the day.
Callie came out extremely well adjusted, and she might be the one to turn her mom's business around. She seems to be like with it because I think she said she was working with Sheree, so she was
Mhm.
always really smart. I don't know what Cairo's doing. I don't think he's modeling, but I'm happy to see that the kids turned out as well as they did. Not looks,
Yeah.
I'm not just looks wise, but well adjusted kids, including her daughter who has like a sex positive
Podcast.
podcast.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
Yeah. I
I
want
know
to
he's
tune into
watching it.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to see what she's talking about. But thank you for the super chat. J.I. said Kenya got fired for not showing her life last time. So I guess that's why now, even if he's not on camera, she's still trying to talk about KMC, the guy, Kill Me Crazy. She's trying to do whatever she has to do to keep her job.
Mhm.
So after that scene with Sheree is when they're like all preparing to go to the panic room, and they show Drew playing basketball. I want to ask y'all this. They showed Drew playing basketball with Ralph, and she was talking about surgery, and Ralph was saying that he's never had surgery. Do you guys
Mhm.
think Ralph is like a compulsive liar? Because it's so weird. Like, why are you lying about random surgery? Like, why are you lying about that?
I think he just speaks before thinking. He's so defensive, and he will just say whatever is like contrary to what Drew is saying. Like, I think he just hates her so much he doesn't think
Mm,
sometimes.
that's sad. That's scary.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm watching to see the breakdown of their relationship. So I'm like looking
Mhm.
extra close.
when did we see the positives in their relationship? From
I feel like I've always seen through it. I do feel like,
yeah.
yeah, he has some mental issues. Drew might too. Like she's a weird one. But
Mhm.
yeah, I've never really seen the positives. I feel like Drew felt rescued because she had a baby with somebody that was like, a dealer and ended up in jail and things like that. So I felt like when she met Ralph, she thought he was rescuing her.
Mhm.
That's how I looked at it.
I think unless Drew was the one who told him to get a vasectomy, it would be a red flag for somebody who goes to Tampa just randomly without their wife or children to now have a vasectomy. It seems like a cheater's dream to be able to, not produce a baby if things
Mhm.
came to it. So I hope that that was a conversation she and Drew had, and not something he just said, "Oh, I'm going to get a vasectomy," because that should have been a big red flag if that were the case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're all preparing to go to this panic room or whatever, and Candy is talking to Todd about going to the panic room, and they're talking about, I guess, well, obviously Candy has a lot of wins in her career, and she says it's time for Todd to have a win. So they're working on his movie, and things like that. Do you guys feel like the support is equal between Candy and Todd, or should it be?
Oh, I don't know. To be honest, I feel like it can't be just because of the caliber of what they where they are in their lives. You know what I mean? Like Candy is all of this. She's on a different level than Todd. Todd is still on a really good level. It's just different. So I don't think it can be to this level where he wants it to be, although Candy is doing her best, I will
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
No, and I don't see a problem with it either. Mama Joyce may not like it, but there are so many people. Um, a VP that I know is the breadwinner. She used to be in San Fran, and she was the breadwinner. And her husband he quit his job and decided that he was going to take on the full role to raise the kids. It's like a new day and age. I don't think that Todd even has to try to be on Candy's level, and it sucks that he had to go through that on live television. But at the end of the day, Candy outpaced pretty much everybody else in her life outside of
Mhm.
Tiny and Ti. So, you know, they're doing the best that they can, but it does suck that he's constantly like criticized for not making as much money as her.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
yeah, crazy to be honest. I think like the people who criticize him are just like hateful people in general or like miserable people because he was doing so well. He was producing the Real Housewives of Atlanta, other like
Mm.
shows that made it to networks. Like he was successful. I don't know. It's just weird. I do feel bad for him. But then when I think about the way he treats his daughter and doesn't let his daughter live nicely, I'm kind of like, you know what? Whatever. Let them drag you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how I feel too. Why Kayla can't have nothing? You know what I'm saying? That's deep to me. It's a mindset
Mhm.
thing. Just because he struggled, he feel like Kayla got to struggle, but she don't
Mhm.
have to. And so I feel like it's okay if you have something. It's okay to share with your kids. It's okay to set your kids up. Just because you didn't have it doesn't mean that your kids can't have it. So yeah, Grace, I'm
Mhm.
with you. Let them drag him just for
I
how he
bet
treats
you,
Kayla
I bet you Candy sends Kayla money without Todd knowing.
secretly.
I could
Yeah,
see that.
yeah.
Mhm.
She
I
has to
hope
do it
so.
secretly. Yeah.
But it's still so traumatizing because, you know, the kids that Candy has with him, she's not going to let them go through the suffrage that he wants them to. Or maybe he doesn't even want those kids to go through it. We don't know yet, right? They're still so young. And then Riley never suffered. So for Kayla to be the only one in that circle like that, it's so toxic. I really hope
Yeah.
he looks into that because it's disgusting, honestly.
Yeah, it really is.
He
Are
doesn't
you
have a
guys?
choice with the other kids. Candy is going to make sure that those other kids get everything that Riley got. So,
Mm-hmm.
that's a lost cause if he's going to try to. Don't fall on that sword, Todd.
Yeah, yeah. Wrong road, wrong road. Yeah. So they meet up at the panic room. Well, you know what? Before we get to that, speaking of Todd, so do y'all think Todd is faithful to Candy? I know it seemed like Candy might have had like an open relationship with Todd at one point, but in general, when the woman is the breadwinner and the man is not, they say a man, whenever his ego is injured, which something like that, even with him marrying Candy, that could still affect his ego. They say he'll get it back. Whatever he feels like it's taken from him, he'll get it back. And a lot of times
Mm-hmm.
men cheat for reasons like that. So I'm just curious if y'all think Todd is faithful to Candy.
Yeah.
You think so? Is that easy?
I think he's faithful because they bring other women into the bedroom. They just make them sign NDAs. Candy's talked about it. So it would be crazy to think you have your wife who's very sexually, free and open, and then you can have other women with your wife. It would be crazy to think that he's then still going out and cheating.
But it happens. Look at Robin
Yeah.
Thicke. Him and Paula were swinging from the chandeliers together, and then he went and effed that up. And it's like, how do you do it? There's literally like almost no rules, and you still mess it up. There's something
Yeah.
wrong with some guys. They
I
sometimes
didn't know that.
you didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that Paula was. I had no idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I
And
feel
there
like
have
'cause
been other cases.
yeah,
Go ahead, Layla.
I've talked to couples who have open relationships, but the men sometimes still they want to be on their own. They don't necessarily want it to be like a group situation. Like they still will step out and do things on their own because that's just what they want. Like bringing women into, a bedroom doesn't mean your man is not going to cheat on you. Like it's not the resolution. If a man wants to cheat,
Mhm.
he's going to cheat. There's no stopping it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Megan
I'm
King
just
and
curious.
Jim Edmonds had that too from RHOC. He still cheated with a threesome partner. Like, if a
Yeah.
man wants to disrespect you, he is going to go out of his way. Like
Yeah.
they focus on what they want. They can't hear a baby crying, but they can find a
Right.
way to cheat on you.
That's fun, but they can hear that phone, they can hear that notification,
They
but they
can hear
can't hear
that
the baby
phone.
crying. Right.
Yeah.
Ooh, Lord. So, okay, the panic room. So Marlo and Courtney meet up. Or was it Drew and Courtney? But anyway, they all come to the panic room, and Marlo is trying to like greet people as if she doesn't have issues with them. Like with Drew, she tries to, greet Drew in a friendly way. Same thing when Candy comes in, she's like, "Are we good?" And it's like, after everything you've done, why would you even think y'all are good? Like, why is Marlo like this? Mims, why is Marlo like this?
Oh, I think she needs a therapist and not a life coach. I just think that we Bravo created a monster and giving her like the ability to shape the narrative on this show. This was just and then why does Courtney get to have a scene? Why does Courtney, a friend of the show, get to repeat what we did 3-4 years ago? And why, whenever they're in a panic room situation, we have a big knockdown, drag out fight? Sheree chased Kenya the last time we were at a panic room. The whole thing is
Or her Mama Joyce
frustrating.
wig.
In your Mama Joyce wig. Yes.
Why does Mama Joyce keep coming up? But yeah, so Kenny was like, her energy is not gonna be right with Marlo until she understands what is going on. So Marlo is like, well, can I talk to you and Drew like a sidebar? And do y'all think? Because later Sanya says that Marlo shouldn't have invited Drew, like it should have just been one on one, and maybe it wouldn't have escalated. What do y'all think? Should Drew have been a part of that conversation with Marlo and Candy?
Yeah, it was gonna blow up anyway. It was gonna blow up anyway. She didn't even do anything. She was kind of just like there as the two of them were speaking. So I can't blame the blow up on her.
Yeah.
The producers were trying to give her a scene. Drew has not been around. Every time we look, she's sick. Somebody in her family is sick. She's not around. Ralph is in more scenes than her. They were trying to give Drew a moment, and it was a game of telephone. So why not have the person who's going around saying it right there in front to discuss? But Candy came ready for Marlo. Drew was just there.
Yeah. And she was trying to speak, but Marlo wouldn't really let Drew speak. But so it gets escalated between between Candy and Marlo. The things start getting escalated, and they feel like the other girls feel like it's about to be a fight. Like Courtney is trying to have small talk with Sanya, but Sanya is like, I'm watching this over there, and it feels like it's escalating, like it's about to be a fight. And so they go over and they try to break it up. And Candy has talked about like when she filmed the season, she was on edge. Do you guys feel like it was really about to get physical? Like, do you feel like it was going to go that far? What are y'all's thoughts on the fight? Because Grace, I know you said this was the best episode so far. It's in your tagline. Like, what are y'all's thoughts about the fight?
I do think it had the potential to get physical, but I just can't see Candy actually doing it. She threatens, headbutting or choking people, this, that, and the other, but she'll never actually go there. I think she knows in her heart of hearts, she's like this tall, okay? She's not gonna headbutt or choke out Marlo. It's just not possible. But it was really intense. And honestly, I love that she just didn't let Marlo run her over. She just kept pointing out how it was BS what Marlo was saying. And like, I feel like, and that's why I love this episode so much. We're finally going to like move to the other side of this, I think, because between the montage at the top of the episode showing like, it doesn't make sense what Marlo's saying, and then Candy confronting it, I think we're finally going to get to put this to rest.
I hope so. I hope you're right, Grace. I hope so. Mims, what did you... Oh, I don't... okay. Well, I'll give y'all my thoughts on the fight. Like I said, I didn't love it. That's why I rated this episode like a 5, because I didn't love it, because I'm just over them fighting, like arguing and fighting. And I feel like this issue, like, it's, why are we talking about this? Like, I feel like the Real Housewives franchise should be about something else. Like when they first started, when it was about who gets invited to parties and like petty things, you know what I mean? But now we're talking about fighting. Kenya is giving fighting advice. You know, we love drunk Kenya. And she say, all you gotta do is punch him in the throat. And it is hard to recover from a punch in the throat. So I don't think Kenya was wrong, but I just don't want to see, you know, Kenya, former Miss USA, you know, having these conversations. I don't like the violence on the show. Oh yeah. And someone Miss Kaiser Soze said size doesn't matter when you know how to move. Yeah. So I do agree, even though Kandi is shorter, like if you know what to do, yeah, I don't think it matters either. Yeah.
I heard she beat Latasha up. I heard she won that fight.
Yeah. But did she headbutt her? Like, how does someone who's this big headbutt someone who's this big? How do you choke someone who's this much taller? Yeah, you might fight, but you're not going to headbutt someone. You're not going to choke someone. I'm sorry.
You just got to get them down. Like, you bring them down to your level.
I do think that Kandi was on edge. What I'm surprised is if they were filming this show in like unison with the other show, we didn't really see this Kandi with the escape. We didn't see them with the escape girls. We didn't see her behave this way with the escape girls. So it is interesting to know that she was doing both. And I do think there is something to be said about doing too much, right? If you're filming 2 shows, you have 2 young children, you're on, you know, multiple television shows, your husband is asking you to work with him on a project. I do think, just from my experience with corporate America and YouTube and things going on with my family, sometimes it can get overwhelming. So maybe she does need to slow up on some things. Like, she has reached a level or a measure of success that very few people have. So maybe slow up on some, if it is that situation. But in terms of the fight, I don't think that Marlo wants to see what she's trying to do to Kandi's business. It's clear to everybody else what she's trying to do, except for Courtney, Sheree, and Sonya's on the fence. But as far as we know, we don't know anything about Courtney's business. So to her, Marlo might have a keen business sense. Like, if I were there and Marlo was saying this, of course it's going to tug at my heartstrings. But if you like really look at what her argument is specifically about Kandi, it falls flat. So I don't know. Marlo's declassing the show.
Yeah, I think so. And I hope you're right, Grace. I hope it is resolved. And, you know, Marlo was saying, like, they were calling Marlo aggressive. And Marlo was saying that she specifically tries to be, I guess you would call it passive, when she's arguing with somebody. Like how last week she was sitting down when she was arguing with Drew at first. And she said when she was fighting with Kandi, like, she tries to keep her hands like where people could see them, like on her hips or something like that. What did you think about her feeling like she has to do that, like she has to keep her hands in sight?
Honestly, I thought it was actually really interesting. I did. I was like, let me think about that. But I think even if she's not like getting physical with her hands, because you know how some people talk with their hands, like Cynthia, for example, that had been an issue. She still has like this very loud, deep voice, and she still is much larger than these other girls. So it does take less from her to scare, you know, these smaller girls. So it is complicated in that respect, but I do understand where she's coming from for sure too.
Yeah. But is that fair, Mims? Like, nobody can help like their height. Like, we all grow to whatever height we have, and you know, things like that. We can't help our body type for the most part. So is it fair, like, if the girls are more intimidated than from her because she's taller, like Drew was talking about her, you know, her body weight or whatever, is that fair that she gets that rap of being intimidating, even if she's not necessarily physically like being aggressive, like with her hands or anything? I'm just trying to throw it out there for Marlo. Like,
I mean, I'm shady but fair, and so I do try to view other vantage points. Marlo is not my favorite character on any franchise, But I just feel as though for somebody who has a background, it does suck that now anytime you do anything, that will get thrown in your face
Mm-hmm.
under normal circumstances. But Marlo and her demeanor are why people go back to the slashing of the face. And I don't think that that gets addressed enough. There are people probably in everybody's life who has a criminal history, and they are allowed to do their time and reintegrate back into society. However, when you have somebody who does low blows, even when she was banging at the door with your broke ass, she
Mhm.
also, we're gonna go back to that campfire scene where she was like, "And your mama don't even want you." Marlo throws out extremely low blows when Kenya was fighting with Wig, the low down dirty monkey with a wig. What's her
Kim.
name? Kim. When Kenya and Kim were fighting in Chateau Charade, Marlo was throwing out jabs. Charade, Kenya, this is our first time getting the house. So that's why they go so low with you, Marlo, because you go low with them. And unfortunately, it is part of your background. So they're not lying on you. That is going to be people's get out of jail free card with you while you're on this show. It
Mhm.
sucks. But it is what it is. It's life.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like Marlo wants people, it seems like she wants people to stop bringing that up. And she thinks just because it was like 20 something years ago, people should stop bringing it up. But I feel like, listen, that just tells me the level of violence you're capable of. If you're capable of slicing somebody's face, like I'm never going to
Yeah.
forget that. I'm going to always bring it up 20, 40, 60 years later. If I'm in an
Mhm.
argument with you, I'm going to bring it up because that's what you're capable of. So
Mhm.
yeah, I just think it needs to be off the show. I want to see something different. Shout out to you guys watching in the comments. Those of you guys just watching, make sure you thumbs up the video. I'm here with two of my favorite bloggers. We have Grace Report and Mims. Make it make sense. I will put links. I don't even think I have my sister here to put the links in the chat, but I will put links to their channel in the comments of this video. It's also in my last videos. Make sure y'all follow them and check out their channels because they both create great content.
Can I say something really quick, Layla?
Yeah.
When they were doing the flashbacks, it almost feels like the producers have an issue with Candy.
Hmm.
I feel like the flashbacks were very one-sided as it pertained to Candy saying Marlo is a great person, right? I would have loved if they would have pulled Candy's footage from her speak on it when she interviewed Marlo, and Marlo echoed the same sentiments about Candy. So I feel like around 2020, maybe they came into it with something new together. Like, okay, we're gonna make amends, we're gonna try something new, and it just got derailed once Marlo became a housewife because she said very positive things. Candy is such a sweetheart. I
Yeah.
did not remember Candy saying that about Marlo. So it's like if you would have had both of those scenes, then the viewer could have got a full picture. But the way that it was produced, it was almost like to call Candy the liar, which I was like, why not show it all? If we're gonna mention it all, mention it all.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I do kind of feel like Bravo is trying to like challenge Candy. Like people say she's just on there, enjoying like promoting her businesses. Like she's just on there. And I think Candy had made a comment like it's almost like free work. Like I'm just going to dinner. Like, you know what I mean? Like she doesn't mind filming the show because it's so easy. So I do feel like with Courtney on the show and the way they have Marlo position, I do feel like they do want more from Candy. Like they do want to see Candy in conflict. And then we have to remember, like Candy said, she would never film with Phaedra again. Like I feel like for all of these shows, when people are on these shows, there has to be someone that gets them riled up. You know what I mean? Like everybody has to have like an enemy on these shows. And so for
Mhm.
Candy, I do feel like the Bravo producers do want somebody to go against Candy because they want somebody to get at everybody. You know what I mean? Everybody has to have their enemy on these shows.
Well,
Mhm.
do
So I
it in
think
a
that's
way
a good
that
thing.
makes sense. Do it in a way that makes sense, Marlo. This is the wrong road. I'm sorry.
Wrong road, wrong road. I don't know how it can make sense because she already admitted, that Candy has done so much for her nephews and things like that. Like, how could it make sense for her to go at Candy? It wouldn't. It wouldn't. Is there a way? Like, is there a real issue between them? I don't think so.
No. That's what makes it so sad, right? Like at the top of the episode, we've got all these flashbacks of how Candy's the only person that sent these cash apps, that congratulated my nephews. And now we have this. It doesn't make sense. By the way, I'm seeing a lot of people in the chat asking how we felt about Nene not appearing in like the flashbacks, the opening credits and whatnot. What do you guys think about that?
Well, I feel like they can't. She sued them. I feel like, oh my God, Nene, it's over. Like, you'll never see Nene on Bravo again, period.
Mm-hmm.
And she's probably made that request, like, don't use my likeness, my image, that type of thing. So I feel like it is what it is at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Mims?
I want RHOA to do better. I mean, this was an entertaining episode, but I want them to do better. I want them to have like characters that make sense. Courtney does not make sense. Courtney's in every scene as a friend of the show. It doesn't make sense. And it's only because she has conflict with Kandi. If that were the case, then Kenya's friend could be in every scene. Moneta should be in every scene. And it was a little... them sitting at the table 3 feet away watching and nervous for Kandi when Kandi didn't even feel threatened was a little bit weird. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like if you've ever been in a fight, don't hold me back. If the other person is not held back, if I don't trust the person, then, you know, you need to talk to the other person if I'm not the aggressor. And I think in this situation, Marlo is the aggressor only because Marlo is the one constantly talking about this event from 2 years ago. It's not Kandi. Sheree coming on to the season, interviewing with Marlo, saying that they were going to get Kandi to work this season. It feels premeditated to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I completely agree. It's just so forced, to be honest with you. But I do think that with all of the kind of backlash that we've got with like Marlo being here, I do see this being her last season. Maybe she's not going to disappear altogether. Maybe she will be like a side character moving forward. But even that, I wouldn't really care for. But I'm getting scared that they want to keep this Courtney lady and that she's being tested at this point. Like, I can't. She's just so like, her voice is so grating to me enough. And just like the way that she kind of is, I don't know. She just has this vibe. Yeah. Like, it's just a very annoying vibe that I'm not feeling at all.
Somebody says Kandi was the aggressive one. She threatened violence, not Marlo. You know, that is...
But Marlo already raised her voice. She was trying to intimidate her already. That's the thing with Marlo. Like, and I was seeing the comments earlier when we were talking about her feeling like she has to make herself super small just so people say she's not violent. But then when you think about it, she's already committed certain acts of violence in this season, like the door slam and then the kicking of the door and the screaming at like night with a child in the room. And then the screaming in Drew's face, like as she's going to lunge at her. And now with this Kandi situation, the way she's raising her voice at her and cursing at her and stuff, to me, I interpret all of that as violence already.
I'm reading the comments.
I think violence is more than touching people. I do agree, like, you know, the door being slammed in Moneta's face, I think that was violence. Yeah, I do feel like Marlo still displays a level of violence, and then they know how far she can go. So yeah, I definitely agree with that. But I also felt Kandi when she was like, we start fighting, like, don't hold me back. You know what I mean? Because you fight with somebody dirty. Don't hold me back. Hold her back. Because if you hold Kandi back, Marlo's not going to do anything but take advantage. So I felt her on that. Because sometimes that be messing people up. You know what I'm saying? When they be fighting and then somebody's holding them back, but not the other person. It can really be an issue. And that's why, you know, it's kind of like just stay out of it.
I'm reading the comments, and for the first time this season, I really see that people are now polarized, and that's a great thing for a show. Because if you don't care at all, that means that the show is on its last leg. The fact that some of you guys love Marlo and hate Kandi, and some of you guys love Kandi and hate Marlo means that people are now interested in the show. Even if it's a love-hate thing, the death of any show is not being concerned. So
yeah, it's working. Y'all like the show. Thank you, Brian Patterson, for the super chat. What's up, Brian? Thank you for your support. I feel like I see your face on here. So thank you for supporting us. He said the flashback conversation between Candy and Marlo made Marlo look like a complete liar to me. Oh, the three of you look amazing. My friends and my mom. Yes, besties. Thank you for that. Thank you.
Layla, are we not going to talk about the elephant in the room?
What?
Which one?
The chat has blown up about your hair.
Yes.
Oh, really? I like it.
The chat has blown up about
Thank
your hair.
you. Thank you. I appreciate. I'm glad y'all like it. Yeah, this is gonna be it for a while. Yeah,
So pretty.
yeah. Thank you. I would share where I bought it, but I'm not satisfied with them, so I'm not gonna say where I got it. But yeah,
You got it from Go Naked, y'all.
I have purchased from Go Naked Hair before. I would recommend it. Only thing is overpriced. Like the same products are on Amazon. Like it's literally the same thing on Amazon. So, but this hair is not from Amazon. This is like handmade. But I will say this. All right, it's another person who makes locks that I will promote. I didn't get these from Legacy Locks, but there's on Etsy, and I think she has her own like site called Legacy Locks that makes locks just like this. And I purchased locks from her in the past, and they got to me fast. They were high quality. So if you want locks like this, because she does make locks like this, and I regret not buying these from her, go to legacylocks.com. I will say that. So you guys, what are you looking forward to next episode?
You know what? I felt like the preview for next week's episode was kind of underwhelming. I felt like it was just a bunch of people screaming, and I don't remember why they were screaming at each other, actually.
Yeah, I don't either. What about you, Mel?
I hope that we don't have to talk about Marlo's nephew anymore in this way, because now it's starting to feel disrespectful.
Yeah.
A young guy lost his life, and now it's a part of a storyline on a reality show, and I really hope that we can end it here.
Yeah. So maybe we just won't. Even if they keep talking about it, maybe we just won't. Because it does feel like uncomfortable, like it's going too far. So maybe we won't. Yeah. But thank you guys for joining me, of course, Grace Report and Mims. Make it make sense. If you're watching this, make sure you have subscribed to all three of us. It's over 1,100 of you guys in the chat. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for chatting. Thank you for lurking. Thank you for those of you who sent super chats today. We definitely appreciate your support. And we will see you guys next week. We're like co-streaming. So we'll all be together next week. And Grace Report will be hosting.
And Trent put some clothes on.
No, don't. You all right, Trent? You all right?
My summer body inspiration.
Yes, I love it. All right, you guys. So I will see you next week. Bye.
All right, bye, guys.